The special meeting of the St. Joseph County Council, December 30th, 2021 is now called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Amen.
The purpose of tonight's meeting is to vote to sustain or override the commissioner's veto of the ordinance number 12521. May I have a motion on ordinance 12521?
Motion to override.
Second.
A motion to override ordinance number 12521 was made by Councilman Catanzarite. It was seconded by Councilwoman Hess. Any further council discussion on ordinance 12521?
I would like to make a comment or two. The first comment I have is that I understand under the legislation proposed by the Democrats, there is the possibility of us not passing a constitutional requirement, which would, if that goes through, would take away the council's legislative ability, which is very unusual in the counties of the state of Indiana. I personally think, as a member of this council, that the fact that we have legislative as well as financial capabilities is very important, and I wonder that you're so desperate having to do with these maps that you're willing to put into jeopardy that kind of approach. And I just ask that the Democrat majority consider what they are putting at stake, which is the unusual and wonderful ability of this council to have legislative as well as financial possibilities. The other thing I'd like to comment upon is that we Republicans have proposed a little different council maps than you. And there is much talk about compromise and discussions. And I would just like to say to my Democrat friends that I have an iPhone here, and it has been silent throughout this process. There has not been one Democrat on this iPhone saying to me, Mr. File, we should compromise and talk about the county council plan of the Republicans as it contrasts with that of the Democrats.
Mr. File.
Thank you very much.
Mr. File, I'm going to comment on your comment. From day one, myself and Councilwoman Hess were in contact with the president of the commissioners. And let's not lose sight of that the commissioners were given the right by state statute to draw the maps. And I was told by President Castelli that this would be a bipartisan process. That's why your phone didn't ring, because I was told that President Castelli and myself would start that process of a bipartisan work in progress, and that never happened. Thank you.
I think the council maps should likewise be a bipartisan
Sir,
process.
I'll say it one more time. The state gave the commissioners the right to draw the maps. And after that was made very clear that the commissioners had that right to draw the maps, I asked Mr. Castelli time and time again, and he told me that this would be a bipartisan process, and it did not happen. Any other comments?
I had a comment.
Mr. Taloyan?
Thank you. Even though there's been a lawsuit filed, as I understand it, I believe that we should still keep talking. I have been in numerous situations where it seemed like there was an intractable difference, but as long as people kept talking and sides kept making small changes, we eventually arrived at something that was disagreeable to everybody and agreeable to everybody. So let's not give up hope. Commissioner Dieter has, I think, a good idea for some mediation, and I would be there if that came about.
And so will I. Any other comments?
Just, Mr. President,
Mr. Canaricki?
thank you. I would just like to echo Mark's commentary and hope that there is an opportunity here for compromise. You know, I think that is what we owe the people, so hopefully we can find a way to work towards that.
And I will say, even though this is the 25th hour, I'm more than willing to sit down and compromise. I have been from day one and still remain that way. Any other comments? Hearing none, clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mr. Krasinski,
Yes to override.
Mr. Nolan,
Yes.
Mr. File,
No.
Ms. Hess,
Yes.
Mr. Taloyan,
No.
Mr. Catanzarite,
Yes.
Mr. Canaricki,
Yes.
Mr. Morton,
Yes.
Mr. Triple,
Mr. Root, sorry,
no.
and then Mr. Morton. I apologize.
Yes.
The override passes 6-3.
Let the record show that ordinance number 12521 passed 6-3 to override the commissioner's veto. May I have a motion to adjourn? Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned. Thank you.